Welcome to Student Connections, where our students connect with their community.
Welcome to Student Connections on M6, your hometown station, where students connect with their community. I'm your host, Megan Hoffman, and to start with, we'll join Steve Mrak while he interviews Lieutenant Scott Braun.
Hi, and welcome back to Student Connections. I'm Steve Mrak here with Lieutenant Braun.
Hey, Steve. No problem.
So, I'm sure you've been asked this before, but what exactly is your role?
Role is I am a day shift lieutenant with the St. Clair County Sheriff's Office. I have 12 to 20 road officers at any one time throughout the county. Also run our fire investigation unit, which is 10 deputies plus myself, and my canine gunner, who is an arson investigation dog.
And what sort of things do you do while you're on this job?
Well, I will, get the guys out on patrol where they need to be. But for his end of things, if we get called out on a fire, a suspicious fire, where somebody uses an accelerant or a petroleum product like gasoline, kerosene, diesel fuel, anything that the firefighters will first look at and say this fire looks suspicious, and not like it's normal dryer fire or a kitchen fire. They'll see pour patterns or different things on the floor that indicate a suspicious fire. And then we'll bring Gunner out, and he'll come out and show us where the fire started and if they use petroleum products.
And did you decide to be in this field of work, or was it sort of a thing out of college?
I went to Fair State University for 4 years, a bachelor's degree. Got my degree, went to Beverly Hills Public Safety, which was police, fire, and EMS for 8 years. And then when I came up to the Sheriff's Department and decided that they wanted a fire investigation unit, being that I already had the fire background, Sheriff Donlin put me in charge of it, and then went from there.
So does your job take place in St. Clair County, or do you guys go other places too?
We're based out of the jail in St. Clair County, but with the fire investigation, because of Gunner being such a specialized dog, there's only 3 dogs in the state that have a specialty. We'll go out to Lapeer, Sanilac, Tuscola, Huron County, and also some bordering jurisdictions like Chesterfield and Clinton Township.
So Gunner is trained to do exactly what?
They call him an arson dog. He sniffs. He has to work to get fed, and the way he works is if we put down petroleum products or drops, and when he sniffs it, we feed him. But what he's used for in the investigation part of it is to show us where the fire started and if a petroleum product was used, and then that shows us where to collect the samples to ship off to the crime lab. And then once they're shipped off to the crime lab, we have a good idea if it's a good sample or not, because he'll tell us if it's a positive sample.
So was it difficult to train him to do all this sort of things?
Well, he came from the Maine State Police. He originally started as a pause with a cause dog, a medical assistant dog. And due to his size, he's about 95 pounds. He was a little bit too big for being a medical assistant dog. So he, I want to say, flunked out of there, but got put to the arson division through the Maine State Police. They took him out there for 3 weeks and trained him prior for me getting out there. I went out there for 5 weeks straight, including weekends. And they already had him started, but the dog has to get acclimated to the handler. And then every year after that, he has to be certified every year. So I just got back from Knoxville, Tennessee about 3 weeks ago, so his certification's good for another year.
So does Gunner stay with you and live with you?
Gunner does. He is with me pretty much 24/7, partially because of him being a food reward dog, meaning that he doesn't eat out of a bowl, that he has to work to eat. So he has to find the petroleum product or the drops we put down in different variations. But he started his shift this morning at 4 o'clock in the morning, went to work with me. We'll get done tonight around 5, and he'll go back home with me. So he's with me pretty much 24/7.
He certainly spends a lot of time with you. And is his breed a particular kind that is trained to do this, or are there others?
They have, State Farm has been doing this program. That's who pays for the dog. We wrote a grant for the dog. Has been doing this since 1993. They've always used Labrador Retrievers, or he's what's called the Goldador. He's a Golden Retriever Labrador mix. And they use that because of their drive or ability to want to work, but also their temperament and how good they are with the noses.
And now is he the only dog in your St. Clair County Sheriff's Office that assists you?
We also have Fist, who is our drug canine, and so he works good with our drug task force. And anytime you might have even seen him here on like locker searches or something like that. But he's our drug unit, and hopefully this next year we're going to acquire 2 more dogs through drug forfeiture funds.
Well, that's certainly a good way to keep it going with more dogs. And does he work well with you, would you say?
Oh yeah, yep. Gunner's a very well-behaved dog. Because he does come to work with me, stays with me throughout my 12-hour shift, and then goes home. He is very well acclimated to people. He sees anywhere from 50 to 150 people a day, and he knows he's very handler dependent because of for me to have to feed him. So we worked well as a team, yes.
So what would you say is the easiest part of your and Gunner's job?
Easiest part is probably the satisfaction I get from working with him, and there's a lot of work that goes into it, but when you see him hit, they call it hit, or when he finds something, they call it a positive hit, at a fire, that makes everything worthwhile. It makes that seem easy, but he's kind of very dependent on me making sure we work every day.
Yeah, that's so what is the hardest part of your job?
With him, I would say is the amount of attention that he requires to be fed, because if I don't train with him, he doesn't eat. So you have to have the dedication to be willing to put him through different drills 3 to 4 times a day, 3 times minimum, or he gets a little sassy at night if you don't feed him.
So he's very owner dependent?
Yes. They've had cases in the past where one of the handlers might move up to a different rank structure or something, and they try to give the dog to they call it a secondary handler, but they get so used to being with that one person all the time that doesn't usually work very well.
So what was your basic day on the job?
Well, like my normal shift, like today we started at 4:30 in the morning, and we get our 5 o'clock and 6 o'clock cars out, and then once they're out and have all their paperwork done, we'll go train first thing in the morning, go do some, we call them drops, or put accelerant down in the sheriff's office somewhere for him to find. That's his favorite part of the day because he gets to eat. And then the rest of the day is doing everything from administration work to getting guys' schedules done. And then if we get called out to a fire, we drop what we're doing and go investigate a fire.
So a basic day on the job, are there any risks you have to take?
Yes, I mean not as many as there once was as a deputy or even as a sergeant, because my guys are on the road and handling the domestic calls and the serious, crime in progress calls. Our biggest hazard as a arson investigation dog or a handler team is once a fire is burnt out, that the floor is unstable. He's fallen through 2 floors so far, but we're really careful not to take him into a structure that's not safe.
So at the end of the day, what would you say is the most rewarding part of your job?
Oh, I love my job. So it's just every day I go to work, there's something positive happens, and I can't imagine doing another job. I absolutely love working for the Sheriff's Department, and I love being a canine handler.
Well, thanks for coming out, and we'll be back right after this.